So you think you've really seen America? Maybe you flew into Denver once? You stood in front of the Rockies, snapped a snowy selfie, felt cute, and moved on, and had no judgment. That's what most people do. But here's the thing almost. Nobody tells you America has entire towns real. Functioning towns hidden high in the mountains that don't feel real at all. Places where mornings smell like pine and cold air, not traffic. Where the scenery looks so unreal you assume someone cranked the saturation too high. The problem. Most people only know the tourist traps. Aspen, Jackson Hole. Yeah, you get it. Miss the hidden gems, and you're either blowing your budget or walking away completely underwhelmed. Even worse, you start believing suburbia is the dream. Today, we're skipping the cliches. No overpriced hype. Postcards. We're heading straight to the peaks. 10 mountain towns so wild, gorgeous, and slightly unhinged, you'll double-check your GPS just to make sure they actually exist. One of these towns legally declared itself the center of the universe. Another has more stars in the sky than people on the ground. One looks like Germany, but it's in Washington. Think you know the best mountain towns in America? Let's find out. And stick around because the New Mexico town at the end has views that will literally drop your jaw. Choosing wrong could cost you thousands, or your sanity. No pressure. Hit like so the algorithm thinks I'm important. Subscribe because someday you're going to want a mountain escape, and this channel is basically your emergency kit for boring life. Tap that button before your boss notices. Let's break it down. Starting with number 10, Wallace, Idaho. At first glance, Wallace doesn't look like a place that should still exist in modern America. It feels paused in time, like someone hit stop somewhere around 1910 and forgot to press play again. This tiny town sits deep in the Bitterroot Mountains, surrounded by thick forests and steep hills that keep the outside world at a comfortable distance. Fewer than 1,000 people live here, yet the town is packed with historic brick buildings, old storefronts, and narrow streets that feel untouched by decades of change. Downtown Wallace is officially listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and once you walk through it, that makes perfect sense. Old saloons still stand where miners once drank after long shifts underground. Faded signs hang above doorways. Mining tunnels disappear into the mountains nearby, quiet and slightly eerie. Life here moves slowly, and that's the point. Despite the vintage look, Wallace is surprisingly affordable. The cost of living sits well below the national average. One-bedroom apartment can rent for around $850, which feels almost unreal compared to most mountain towns. Crime is extremely low, and violent crime is nearly unheard of. Then there's the detail Wallace is most famous for. It's legally declared itself the center of the universe. There's an actual manhole cover in town that marks the spot. Is it serious? Maybe. Is it funny? Definitely. Locals seem to enjoy the mystery. Daily life is simple. One grocery store, no Starbucks, more ATVs than cars. Jobs mostly come from tourism, history, or anything tied to the town's mining past. Winters are heavy, with over 80 inches of snow, and the internet can be painfully slow. And every morning, at 5:40 a.m., a train horn echoes through the valley. Charming, until it's your alarm clock. But picture this, cold mountain air filling your lungs. Pine trees everywhere. The smell of bacon drifting out of a local diner. Snow crunching under your boots as the sun slowly hits the hills. Wallace isn't trying to impress anyone. It just exists quiet, strange, and completely itself. Next up, number 9, Ouray, Colorado. If Wallace feels frozen in time, Ouray feels carved into stone. This tiny town sits inside a steep box canyon, completely surrounded by towering mountains on all sides. No matter where you stand, there's nowhere to look that doesn't feel dramatic. People call Ouray the Switzerland of America. And once you see it, the comparison makes sense. Sharp peaks rise straight up from town. Waterfalls spill down cliffs. In winter, ice climbers scale frozen walls that look terrifying to anyone with common sense. Despite the epic scenery, Ouray itself is small and walkable. Wooden storefronts, Western-style buildings and narrow streets give it a classic mountain town feel. Tourism runs the show here, and the season feels longer than most relationships. Summer brings hikers and jeep tours. Winter brings skiers, climbers, and snow-covered everything. Living here isn't cheap. The median home price sits around $625,000. Rent averages about $1,500 a month, and the cost of living is noticeably higher than average. But crime is almost non-existent, and the town feels safe at all hours. Jobs mostly come from hospitality hotels, restaurants, tour companies, or from remote work if you're lucky enough to have it. Locals joke that everyone either works in tourism, knows someone who does, or escaped into online work just in time. Daily life here comes with a workout. Nearly everything involves stairs. Businesses are built into hillsides, meaning a simple coffee run feels like a mini hike. In summer, parking becomes a competitive sport. And finding a spot in July can feel like climbing Everest without oxygen. And yes, breakfast burritos are overpriced. But then you sit down, you take one bite, and behind your plate, through the window, are mountains that look so perfect they don't seem real. Suddenly the price feels less offensive. Mornings in Ouray are quiet and cold. You step outside, breathe in crisp mountain air, and watch sunlight slowly creep down the canyon walls. Deer wander through yards like they belong there because they do. It's dramatic, it's peaceful, and it feels slightly unreal. Ouray doesn't try to be practical. It just shows off and somehow gets away with it. Number 8, Leavenworth, Washington. Leavenworth is proof that if a town commits hard enough to a theme, reality eventually gives up arguing. What you see here looks like a Bavarian village dropped straight into the Cascade Mountains. Every building follows the same style: steep roofs, wooden balconies, painted trim. It doesn't matter if it's a hotel, a gas station, or a fast food spot, everything looks like it belongs in southern Germany. The town made this choice decades ago, and now it leans fully into it. Bratwurst stands line the streets. Bakeries pump cinnamon sugar scents into the air. You'll see people in lederhosen on a random Tuesday and think nothing of it. Leavenworth is beautiful, but it's busy. Tourism drives everything here. Most jobs are seasonal, tied to festivals, hotels, restaurants, and shops. Oktoberfest energy doesn't just happen once a year, it's a daily baseline. Summer weekends bring crowds, cameras, and tour buses. Winter adds snow and Christmas lights, turning the town into a postcard that never turns off. Living here comes at a cost. Median home prices hover around $735,000. Rent averages about $1,600 a month, and the cost of living runs more than 20% above the national average. Crime is low, but patience can be tested during peak tourist season. Daily life is loud, colorful, and full of movement. Street musicians play violins and accordions along the sidewalks. Tourists stop in the middle of the road for photos. Bakery. Windows fog up from fresh bread inside. But step just a few blocks away from the main strip, and things change. Mountains rise quietly behind town. The Wenatchee River flows cold and steady nearby. Early mornings, before the crowds arrive, feel almost peaceful. You can hear birds, water, and wind moving through trees. Yes, sandwiches cost $14. Yes, everything feels like a festival. But there's something oddly comforting about living somewhere that knows exactly what it is and doesn't apologize for it. Leavenworth isn't subtle. It's cheerful, it's dramatic, and unapologetically committed. And somehow, it works. Number 7, Cloudcroft, New Mexico. Cloudcroft doesn't just sit in the mountains. It floats above them, at 8,676 feet above sea level. This tiny town lives where the air feels thinner and the clouds sometimes pass through your street. It's quiet, remote, and completely disconnected from the rush of normal life. Only about 700 people call Cloudcroft home. The town is small enough that you can walk across it in minutes, but the surrounding Forest makes it feel much larger and more isolated. Life here moves slowly. Tall pine trees surround everything. Cabins are tucked between them, often dusted with frost in the early morning. Weather changes without warning. One moment it's clear and bright, the next you're wrapped in fog or light snow. Housing is surprisingly reasonable for a mountain town this high up. Median home prices sit around $275,000. Rent usually falls between $900 and $1,200 a month. Crime is extremely low and most people leave doors unlocked without thinking twice. Jobs are limited. Most come from seasonal tourism, small shops, or services that keep the town running. Remote work helps, but the internet can be slow and unreliable. If you're looking for chain coffee, you won't find it here. No Starbucks. There's no rush. Mornings in Cloudcroft feel almost unreal. You step outside your cabin and hear nothing but wind moving through the trees. Frost crunches under your boots. Deer wander past as if you're part of the landscape. The silence is deep. Some people find it peaceful, others find it unsettling. There's not much nightlife. Stores close early. Social events are small and personal. Everyone knows everyone, or at least knows of everyone, but that's the appeal. Cloudcroft isn't trying to entertain you. It's not trying to impress anyone. It offers space, quiet, and altitude, and lets you decide what to do with them. On clear nights, the sky feels impossibly wide. Stars appear brighter, closer, and more numerous than anywhere most people have lived. Cloudcroft doesn't shout it, whispers. And if you're the kind of person who listens, it can feel like exactly the right place to disappear for a while.
Number 6. Ely, Minnesota. Ely is the kind of place where nature doesn't surround the town. It defines it. This small community sits right on the edge of the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness, one of the most untouched regions in the lower 48 states. The population is small, but the land around it feels endless. Forests stretch in every direction, lakes connect like quiet highways, and wildlife isn't something you visit. It's something you live with. Here, your neighbors might actually be moose. Housing is simple and affordable compared to most mountain or wilderness towns. Median home prices hover around $200,000. Rent usually falls between $750 and $950 a month. The cost of living is about 16% below the national average, which helps balance out the isolation. Crime is very low. The bigger challenge here is the weather. Winters in Ely are not gentle. Temperatures regularly drop to -30 degrees with wind chill. Snow piles up. Roads go quiet. Life slows down whether you want it to or not. Jobs mostly come from tourism, outdoor education, guiding, or small local work. Many people here wear multiple hats. One job in summer, another in winter, and something in between to fill the gaps. Daily life is stripped down. Wi-Fi can be weak. Coffee options are limited. Convenience stores feel far away even when they're close. But in exchange, you get something rare: silence. Mornings might start with a frozen lake glowing faintly as the sun rises. On clear nights, the northern lights ripple across the sky, reflecting off ice and snow. Inside, a fireplace crackles while wind pushes against the walls. Sometimes, far off in the distance, you'll hear wolves. Not in a scary way, just a reminder that you're not in control here. Ely isn't comfortable in the traditional sense. It doesn't cater to you. It doesn't soften the edges. But for the right person, that's exactly the point. It's raw, it's honest, and it feels like stepping into a quieter version of the world.
Number 5, Stanley, Idaho. Stanley doesn't feel like a town so much as a clearing in the mountains where a few people decided to stay. Tucked deep in the Sawtooth Mountains, it's surrounded by sharp peaks, wide valleys, and rivers that steam in the cold. Fewer than 100 people live here year-round. That's not a metaphor. On some days, it feels like you've met everyone just by walking down the road once. Housing is limited, but still more reasonable than you'd expect for a place this dramatic. The median home price sits around $395,000. Rent usually falls between $1,000 and $1,300 a month. Cost of living stays slightly below the national average, and crime is almost non-existent. Jobs revolve around tourism, guiding, lodges, rafting, fishing, or remote work if you can make the connection work. Phone signal is weak. Internet can be unreliable. This is not a place built for constant connectivity. Stanley is also famous for something less inviting. It holds the record for the coldest temperature ever recorded in the lower 48 states, minus 54 degrees. Winters here are long, quiet, and unforgiving. Stores close early. Roads empty out. Silence becomes part of the routine. But mornings make it worth it. You wake up to complete stillness. No traffic, no noise, just mountains standing tall in every direction. The river nearby releases slow curls of steam into the air. Coffee tastes better when the cold bites your face. Wildlife moves freely here. Elk wander near the edge of town. Coyotes jog across open land like they have somewhere important to be. You're not watching nature, you're sharing space with it. There's no rush in Stanley. No crowds. No pressure to keep up with anything. Time stretches out, shaped by daylight and weather instead of schedules. Some people last a season. Others stay forever. Stanley doesn't ask you to be productive. It doesn't offer many distractions. What gives you? Number 4, Bisbee, Arizona. A town that doesn't rush to explain itself. It sits quietly in the hills, letting you arrive at your own pace. Artsy. High elevation. Just haunted enough. Bisbee feels like a place with memory. Streets curve instead of running straight. Houses cling to hillsides at odd angles. Painted colors that feel chosen emotionally, not strategically. Nothing is polished, but nothing feels careless either. The population sits around 5,000. It's small enough that faces start to look familiar, but big enough that anonymity still exists. You're never completely alone, and you're never overwhelmed. The town breathes evenly. Median home price hovers around $240,000. Rent usually ranges from $800 to $1,200, depending on how steep the climb is to your front door. Here, elevation matters more than square footage. Views are earned, not included. Crime is low, not because of strict systems, but because people notice each other. This is a town where absence is felt, where neighbors recognize patterns, where things feel quietly watched over. Jobs come from local businesses, tourism, or remote work. Many people wear more than one hat. Someone pours coffee in the morning and paints at night. Someone works online and sells handmade goods on weekends. Careers feel flexible. Identity feels optional. There are over 1,000 public stairs. They cut through neighborhoods like hidden paths. Some are steep and narrow. Some are worn smooth from years of use. The stairs slow you down. They make movement intentional. You don't rush through Bisbee, you climb through it. Parking barely exists. It's less an inconvenience and more a condition of life. You park where you can and walk the rest. Complaining feels pointless, like arguing with the hills. Some locals will judge your aura if you order the wrong chai. Not openly, not cruelly, just enough to let you know that taste here is a kind of language. Number 3, Homer, Alaska, where the road ends and the frontier begins. Homer feels like the last sentence on a map, a place you reach not by accident, but by continuing forward after most people would have turned around. The land opens up here, wide and quiet, with the sense that nature still has the final say. Once a fishing town, now an artist colony. The boats are still here. So are the nets, the docks, the early mornings. But somewhere along the way, painters arrived. Woodworkers stayed. Musicians never quite left. Homer didn't replace its past. It layered something softer on top of it. Median home price sits around $350,000. Rent usually falls between $1,100 and $1,400. You feel the cost immediately, not just in housing, but in everything else. The cost of living is high, and no one pretends otherwise. Jobs revolve around fishing, tourism, and crafts. Some people work the water. Others carve, paint, or sell what their hands know how to make. A few work remotely, staring at screens while glaciers sit quietly outside their windows. Careers here feel practical, creative, or seasonal, sometimes all three. Winters are unpredictable. Storms come without asking. Snow doesn't follow schedules. Darkness stretches longer than expected. You learn quickly that plans are suggestions, not promises. Convenience is limited. Stores close early. Options narrow fast. You don't run errands casually, you plan them. And sometimes, planning still isn't enough. But mornings change everything. You wake up to mist rolling over Kachemak Bay. The water looks endless, soft and cold, like it's breathing. Bald eagles move overhead, slow and certain, as if they own the sky outright. The town feels small beneath them. Fresh halibut finds its way onto your plate. Not dressed up, not complicated, just honest food from nearby water. Meals feel earned here. Homer moves at its own pace. Slower, heavier, more deliberate. Number 2, Telluride, Colorado. The James Bond of mountain towns. Polished, dramatic, and impossibly confident, yet never loud about it. Telluride doesn't chase attention. It already knows it has it. The town sits inside a box canyon, mountains rising sharply on all sides like walls built by nature itself. There's no easing into the scenery here. It arrives all at once. Steep, commanding, cinematic. Waterfalls appear during your commute, not as a destination, just part of the background. You pass them like traffic lights. Ski runs drop straight into town, blending daily life with something most people plan vacations around. In Telluride, spectacle is ordinary. Median home price sits at $1.7 million. Rent hovers around $2,500 a month, sometimes more. Cost of living is high, and no one pretends otherwise. This is a place that knows its value and doesn't discount itself. Jobs lean toward hospitality and luxury real estate. Hotels, restaurants, ski operations, high-end properties tucked into impossible angles. The economy here serves comfort, experience, and access. Everything feels elevated, sometimes literally. Despite the price tag, Telluride doesn't feel flashy. It feels precise. Clean lines, well-maintained streets, a sense that details matter. Even the quiet feels intentional. Mornings are where the town truly shows itself. Sunrise hits 13,000-foot peaks first. The light arrives slowly, catching the ridgelines while the town below still rests in shadow. Snow glows softly. Air feels sharp and fresh, like it's been filtered through pine needles. You ride a free gondola to buy groceries. Not as a novelty, but as public transportation. Cabins glide overhead, connecting town to mountain like it's the most normal thing in the world. Inside, people carry bags, skis, coffee cups. Everyday life, suspended above the valley. Pine-scented air fills your lungs. Number 1. Taos, New Mexico. A place where ancient culture meets modern art without either one apologizing. Taos doesn't try to blend things smoothly. It lets contrasts exist side by side and trusts you to make sense of them. Adobe buildings sit low and solid, shaped by sun and time. Earth tones everywhere. Walls that look like they grew out of the ground instead of being built on top of it. Nothing shiny, nothing rushed. In the distance, 13,000-foot mountains rise suddenly, almost aggressively, as if the desert decided to show off. Snow clings to the peaks longer than you expect. Ski energy meets desert silence in a way that shouldn't work, but does. Sunsets here look professionally color-graded. The sky shifts through purples, oranges, reds, and tones that don't have names. It feels unreal, like someone adjusted the saturation just a little too far and decided to keep it. Artists live here, so do monks. Hippies pass ranchers on the street without anyone staring too long. Everyone seems to belong, even when they don't look like they should. Taos has space for contradictions. Median home price sits around $370,000. Rent averages between $1,200 and $1,600. It's not cheap, but it's not pretending to be. You're paying for atmosphere, altitude, and something harder to explain. Jobs come from art, tourism, remote work, or selling dream catchers next to green chili burritos. Sometimes all at once. Careers here feel improvised. People do what works. Titles matter less than intention. Every day feels like a movie scene, even when nothing important happens. Light moves differently here. Time stretches. Ordinary moments feel framed without trying. Sage and wood smoke hang in the air. The scent lingers, mixing with dust and sunlight. It feels ceremonial, even when it isn't meant to be. You hear flutes drifting from rooftops. You don't look for the source. You don't need to. So yeah, America has more to offer than you were told. And somewhere out there, your mountain town is waiting.